Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. And if you could, welcome back Miguel.
Master of the universe. Shout out to Psycho Sid, R.I.P.
Oh, man.
I'm back. Had to fly around the planet one time, you know what I mean? Before,
Literally, you actually flew around the world.
Literally flew around
coming home.
Bro. Left out of JFK, landed in Turkey, spent the day in Turkey, flew from Turkey to Bangkok, Thailand. And then from Bangkok, Thailand to Hong Kong, in China. And then I thought, flying around the world, I thought we'd go over the Pacific Ocean. But apparently they go up the coast of Japan, around to Alaska, and then come back down through Canada.
Yeah, it's shorter.
It's shorter that way. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
It's because it's flat, right? It's
flat Earth is
flat. 100%. Saw it for myself. Yeah, but 14 hours on the plane, it's hard to do.
Please tell me you flew beyond economy.
No, dude. You know what I mean? This was a bucket list trip. You know what I mean? I took advantage of my company putting us up on furlough and decided to go to one of the cheapest countries in the world, Thailand, Bangkok, Phuket.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time. And I'm glad you're back.
We missed you.
Glad to be back. Missed you too. I was listening to you guys out there for sure.
Important time, important podcast. You missed the draft.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what.
You missed the draft. But...
I made a lot of small domestic flights because I'm a loser and haven't had the chance to really go international. I've flown to here to Colorado a lot. It's not too bad. I've flown here to LA once, there and back. I learned one thing. Never, ever, 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 ever over a 4-hour flight will I fly economy again.
Over 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't care what it's going to cost me. Then I just don't go. If I can't afford it, I'm not going. Because I hear about the flights, like you going there. I got family who's been to Australia, and they talk about the flights. I'm like, yeah, hell no.
Yeah.
Comfort.
Yeah. Definitely needed the leg room. I did see the business class. Did they have that little, diagonal chair where they could stretch out their legs?
Yeah.
So you might be right. Might next time, be able to be willing to splurge for those seats for sure.
Yeah, that, or maybe we can start getting back to supersonic flights and we can cut that time in half and not be as worried.
Not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, it only came out in the 80s. Well, why bother with it now?
Right. Yeah. Why not? So you're welcome back, Miguel. Mark, you're here as well. Thank you for being here. We're recording, I guess, right after the Thursday night game where we just saw Tua get hurt.
Sorry. I looked up Concord. That was in 1969. I thought it was 80s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So we were just watching the Thursday night game, and we all were talking about Tua, how his concussion may actually probably end his career. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he's on my fantasy team, and now I got to go find somebody.
Yeah, he's on
his career.
Too. Yeah. Anybody want to trade for him?
Oh man, and so we're talking about that, and then we're gonna talk about the upcoming Monday Night Football game, Eagles Falcons. So we have a little bit to discuss about that, and some things that Vic Fangio said about getting. I guess he wants somebody asked him how David White, Devon, what's his name? I can't remember his name now.
Devin White,
how he gets back on the field. And it's really, Vic Fangio makes these short little answers, whereas Sirianni just rattles on and on and on and on.
I have a thought about Devin White that we'll get to in a second. I didn't get my 2 cents in about this Green Bay game that I'm currently rewatching.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's do that, Miguel. Before we get started, follow us on Instagram, Squawk Eagles Podcast. Go to our T Public page where we are now selling shirts. And this past week, if you are listening and you bought a shirt, thank you, because boy, there's been like a whole run on shirts at TeePublic this week.
Nice.
So go head on over there, buy some shirts, merch, whatever. Follow us on YouTube, Squawking Eagles Podcast, and like and follow wherever you are listening to this station now. So yeah, Miguel, let's hear your 2 cents. You heard your hot takes during the game a little bit, but what was your final thoughts on that Packers game in Brazil?
Well, definitely was pleasantly surprised by Saquon's debut. Definitely solidified my my purchasing of a Saquon jersey just to piss off Giant fans. You know what I mean? So definitely going to do that. So to watch him have a career game like that on a field that was not meant to be playing football on. I don't know if you guys heard Jason Kelce talk about the field and how wet and slippery it was, and the paint didn't even, wasn't even really dry completely, making that field a little bit more slick. We looked like a team that didn't play a preseason game, and that's exactly what we saw, the rust. But to face, what was it, 3 turnovers?
Yeah, they lost the turnover battle
and still win. You know what I mean? That's something that doesn't happen in the NFL very often. Usually you turn that ball over 2 or more times, you're usually losing the game.
Especially at the team that's considered to be a contender.
Yeah,
correct. And
it's not sustainable. They can't sustain that the whole year.
It's not. And I thought also bringing back Jason Kelce's interview was it this morning or yesterday? Mm-hmm. Where he was talking about how teams seem to be kind of shadowing Jalen. Like they know he's not going to run to his left. He is more willing to run to his right, and how defenses are kind of opening, are trapping him in that sense. Pretty much is what Jason said about the Giants coach, defensive coach that played him last year, did. Kind of just forced his way to make. They knew that he was going to go that way. So to see that Jalen still has a lot of growing to do and still a lot of learning to do. It's only the first game of the season, and we were able to put up 34 points on a good team playing badly on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, that's a contending team. That's a playoff team from last year and definitely for this year. So to be able to do that and walk away with a win and still lose the turnover battle was, an accomplishment in its own right.
Saw a lot of people that had Jordan Love as a preseason MVP option.
Yeah, well, I drafted him high in my league, one of my leagues, to have him as a quarterback because I thought he was going to have a breakout year as well. So, who knows? There's a rumor out there that he's playing Sunday.
Really?
Like a 3-week.
There's a rumor out there that he's going to play on Sunday.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I'll be shocked. I thought they said it was at least 3 weeks, and they were looking to trade for somebody to back him up.
Or they were going to sign Ryan Tannehill too.
Yeah,
he's sitting on the sidelines. So
well, if you look at fantasy, when I looked on fantasy earlier, it just said doubtful. It didn't say like out.
Right.
Yeah. So, tell San Fran about that shit.
Oh yeah. Well, that's a fine that's coming down the pike for that guy. I just love how he blames the media. It's like it's your dumb fault. Like you should really know. Like as a player, if you get advanced information, you should keep that to yourself. Like you don't tell them the actual truth from when you know. Yeah, that's just bad coaching too. So
even though you're gonna tell me after a game, after a good game, you had a great game, you're gonna interview for the first time, as your first real start. They ask you questions, you got to just remember, like, oh, I'm not supposed to say those things.
Yeah,
come on, man.
Yeah. So, and also like the defense, we talked about in last week's podcast, is that the defense kind of was saved the Eagles from getting blown out because those 2 field goals could have been touchdowns.
Well, if you listen to Slay's podcast, he was saying how there was points in the game where he kept switching his shoes because he couldn't find the right shoes, which again, like, didn't this happen during the Super Bowl? Like, they
Yeah.
were switching shoes in the middle of the game. Like, why
Yeah.
haven't we learned our lesson? Okay, we're in Brazil. You only had limited options of but they should have had somebody from the team fly out to Brazil, test the field out before anything, and have.
They did say they tested the field the day before, and they said it felt entirely different. They said like there was no moisture, wasn't as humid. They said the field felt a lot better.
Huh.
So,
But I think,
for the NFL to spend all this amount of money and send all these guys down to the Southern Hemisphere to play football, which they've never seen before, they should have really made sure that field was ideal and pristine. And I think they dropped the ball on that one.
well, I will say, and again, I think Elliot made a point to it, was that it is a really good field for soccer.
right.
And soccer is played. The reason that there's been a lot of discussion with FIFA when it comes to the World Cup is the field is different for a lot of these for the way soccer's played. They've had a lot of discussion with the fields, the NFL teams that are going to be loaning their stadiums out for the World Cup in a couple of years. What changes need to be made because of that? The fields that our football is played on tend to be firmer, tend to be a different form of grass and dirt in the ones that use grass and dirt, and different turf when areas that use turf. So I'm sure when they went down, we're doing like, hey, they probably asked some kind of turf management company, like, hey, how's the field? And they said, this field's amazing because it's a really nice new soccer stadium. Yeah. But they didn't say, hey, how is it compared to NFL stadiums? Because they're stupid.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird.
So moving on, Miguel, is that all the points you wanted?
Yeah, that's. I mean, besides the standout of Quentin Mitchell, his gameplay, he played really good.
Yeah.
Your boy number 17,
Nakobe Dean.
Nice. He had a sack on one play that they blew the play dead before he can get there, but he definitely should have had more.
Bro, he had that one play where he blew that man up. I thought that man lost a year of his life.
Yeah, and let's not forget, what's the other linebacker's name?
Zach Bond.
Zach Bond had a great game.
Balled out right in the beginning of the game.
2 sacks.
As Jalen fumbles the ball.
He's tied for leading tackler in the NFL?
Yeah.
Jurgensen, his little snap issue, bro. Like, supposedly this goes back into college play. Like, has an issue with snapping the ball early. Hopefully he can get this shit fixed because we can't be having that shit.
No. And earlier you said, Miguel, rust. I said earlier before in previous episodes is that because they chose not to play their starters in the preseason, they can't go like, oh, it's a rust. No, you had a chance to knock all that off. You chose not to. And all that talk, like during the preseason where Jalen Hurts just turned 153 completions without an interception, and he throws 2 in the first fucking game.
Yeah, his first throw was an interception.
Was it the first throw?
I believe it was the first throw.
Was it like first and third, right?
It was like I don't want to hear about rust. You guys said that you weren't going to play any of your starters. They should have been ready. They should have been ready.
I don't understand how you can say that a dual practice can give you the same I guess the same feel as a preseason game. Like it's two totally different things when the lights are bright and there's a crowd there cheering you. Like yes, there's fans at practice, but there's not. Well, depending if you're an Eagles fan, there's 15,000 fans that show up to practice.
Right.
But
true.
This is not Patriots Eagles at Foxborough. You know what I mean?
Different story.
So
moving on to Atlanta. Atlanta will be coming to the link for the Eagles' official home opener, even though.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought we were away.
Oh, no. It's the Eagles' official home opener, even though the first game was an opening home game. But
it was a home away game.
A home away game. I think they kind of made it fair, like because the Eagles, when they have their hotel was like 10 minutes away from the stadium, whereas the Packers were 2.5 hours away. So they kind of make it feel like
That's not even remotely close to being fair. We get one less game at actual home with our fans.
Yeah, I know.
You see, the problem with the international games, one thing I notice is that, like, and you see a lot, obviously it's big in college, but you see in the NFL as well. The fans know when to get rowdy. If our defense is on the field, it's 3rd and 7, the stadium is roaring.
Yeah, it was a weird sounding crowd. I thought it was a weird sounding crowd.
For one, the crowd, and then they're normally quiet if it's 3rd and long for our offense.
Yeah. But
internationally, it's loud all the time in the beginning, and then when they start kind of petering out, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah. The buddy I have mine who went to the game, he said it was mostly Packers fans in the stadium because of the colors of their jerseys. They mostly rooted for the Packers anyway.
Which is crazy because that whole stadium's like anti-green.
Yeah.
Not for Placer Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil. So now Eagles are playing the Falcons, who are coming off a loss. Kirk Cousins in prime time. He didn't really look too, recovered from his ACL. Achilles.
Yeah.
He looked too. So they did a lot of shotgun during that first game of the season.
Man can't run.
Where he can't run. So if you are in shotgun, you really can't do that play action. So you kind of what's gonna happen. You know what's coming. This defense is young. That play action is actually going to help without because Kobe Dean he likes to he bites on that play action quite often. So if they're not going to be doing that, he'll be able to focus more on stopping the run because he knows it's coming. I'm a little worried about Bijan running though. He's they didn't run the ball a lot.
I was gonna say, how do you not lead with that? It's Bijan versus Saquon. Like
I say,
yeah.
What I say for last week's game, you got to control Josh Jacobs to win.
Yeah,
for the most part, we did. And we won.
Yeah.
It's round 2, but worse.
Yeah.
Look, no offense to Josh Jacobs. You were good. You're kind of petering towards it. I mean, I get it. You're still
in a bad field.
You're still a good running back. It was a bad field. You're going to have a good year. You're not Bijan. Bijan's the young stud right now.
He only had 78 yards rushing last week. So they're going to want to get some more touches on him. So the defense is they're going to have their hands full trying to contain him.
Fantasy teams this year too.
I also have him on two of my teams.
Too funny. The thing is with the defense, I think Isaiah Rodgers, he had surgery on his hand.
Yes, he did.
He may be back.
Him to play as a backup.
Yeah, he may be back. So we'll see Quinion against on the outside again
because we need Davante out of there.
Devontae Maddox.
Devontae's fine. Avante got to go.
Avante Maddox. He's. I loved him before he got hurt, but since he's got hurt, he's not the same player.
Bro, he's Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones, coming out of college prior to his ACL tear, was looked at as one of the best corners to come out in like a decade. He was going to be phenomenal. Towards ACL, he's never the same.
No, the Eagles
Avante started to look pretty good. Got hurt. He's not the same. What kills me is we have this young group. Like, I get it. The veterans are, quote unquote, more consistent.
Yeah.
I don't care, man. I want to see Ricks. I want to see Ringo. I want to see a lot of Ringo. I want to see Rodgers when he's healthy. That's our future. In 1 year, we could see it be Rodgers, Ringo, Ricks, our starters.
Yeah.
Why not get him out there as soon, rep him as much as we can now, get that build. I mean, Ringo looked so good last year. I want to see more of them.
Well, the defense, they're going to need to get, the edge rushers are going to need to get to the quarterback. I know Nolan Smith was just, he was, a few steps so close, but not yet. And Bryce Huff has been kind of MIA. We don't really.
I have an idea. Let's trade him back to the Jets for Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick, he's not playing. He didn't play last week.
You got to pay him though.
That's fine.
How much money does Hassan Reddick have? Because every single time he misses a game, it's $800,000, and he also is getting fined too. So it's
decently wealthy. He is an NFL player.
Yeah, but just to say, you know what? I'll just pay all these fines.
I mean, did he not learn anything from what's the dude from Pittsburgh?
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell, we haven't learned nothing.
Yeah, it's
different is though. Unlike Bell, he's not a running back. He's got more potential for years. Plus, he's already a veteran. And he
listen.
made what, $45 million off us with his last deal?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's missing on money.
No, but it's. I think I need to see, like, now the Eagles are going to be on their home turf. I'm going to see.
Right.
I got to see a defense that. I got to
We're
see
gonna
what
be on good grass.
It's going to be good grass. We're going to see what the defense can do now.
Now, because listen, I attribute to Huff's not playing like. Again, I go back to the Jason Kelsey on WIP, where he says, the grass, he has a little bit more flat. He's like Lassan Reddick. He's got bend in his ankle, and he couldn't get no grip on this grass, so that's why he wasn't an effective player. So hopefully we get him at home now, and he's on that good grass, and he makes an impact against this Atlanta team.
Yeah,
Miguel knows all about the local good grass.
Yes, I do. Got some rolled up, waiting to get smoked.
Offensive wise, Saquon scored 3 touchdowns last week.
Saquon
We probably
great.
won't. We probably won't see 3 today. On Monday.
I'll be happy with 1.
We'll probably see 1. We'll see 1. Who has a breakout game?
Goddard.
Devontae.
I got to tell you, at the end of the game, Devontae coming up big on those third down plays. He is, yes, he's not the captain. They give him the captain this year, but boy, he is Mr. Reliable. I love that guy.
Well, he was the winning. He helped us win that game.
He did 100%.
They came to him like 3 times in a row, I think.
Yeah.
Towards the end of that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been clutch. That's why they know him and AJ Brown, bad boys for life. Let's go.
Yeah,
that's right. That's
a combo. And we haven't even begun to see the growth we might get out of Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot to learn because he was just,
got a deer in the headlights a little bit out there.
Yeah, he was.
I mean,
and Jalen didn't throw him the best.
I say the one ball thrown to him, he shouldn't have never thrown.
It's double coverage.
My biggest thing about this game, the rust or not, decision making by Jalen, painful.
Right.
Some of those throws were Daniel Jones level throws. You don't want to see that in the NFL. And unless you're a Giant, you don't want to see that in the NFL.
The Giants don't even want to see that.
Hurts. I was hesitant on you when you got here. I agreed to redeem you with the wonderful things you've done in the past year or so, or 2 years ago. Last year was, a little weird. I get it. You can't come off last year's junk ending and play like that and expect love. And I want you to know right now, I saw you smile when you had a good play. You threw out a touchdown. It was nice. You smiled. Get rid of the stoicism. I'm sick of it because it only works when we're doing well or if it's a tough fight game. When you're throwing the ball away and fumbling the ball, I get the fumble's not technically your fault, but those decisions are you. There's no one else making that decision to throw that ball. Mm-hmm. You threw one where AJ Brown, as the ball's being thrown, said, "I'm a cornerback," because there's no chance this ball's getting to me.
Yeah, he would have had 3 if AJ didn't knock it out.
Yeah. Jahan Dotson got super lucky that there was contact there or that was picked off. There's 3-4 picks happening in that game, and every one of them is your fault. The pick the other night for Aaron Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers' fault. He threw the ball to his receiver, hit his receiver in the shoulder, popped up in the air, got picked off.
Yeah.
That I don't blame the quarterback on. Those kind of throws, I honestly think they need to track stats like that. If you hit a receiver in the hands, you hit and it's on the receiver and he tips it, it's not blocked by a corner. I mean, he just doesn't catch it. It bounces off him. I don't want that. I feel like there needs to be a separate stat.
No,
so
I
we
agree.
Can track real interceptions and, lucky turnovers. Mm-hmm. But my guy Hurts, those were all on you. And I trust you to do better. We need you to do better. Or we got to make a change because we have a team right now. We have a team that is set for the next 4 to 5 years. We have, I always want to say the Eagles window is open. I know it's not. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I'm not an idiot. You got to build a team. We have a great build right now. Mm-hmm. We have a phenomenal build right now.
The window's open. The window's open.
The window is open. but the window is only so open for Hurts.
You think he's on a short leash because of last year and the beginning of this?
I think he's definitely on a leash. It might not be as short as the fans overreact to, because that's what, it's week one. We're overreacting. We always do. I get it. I'm probably the first going to tell myself I'm an idiot for the things I've said anyway. But we overreact. It's how it is. But it's hard after the abysmal end of last season to not be a little bit more a little more upset with that kind of performance. And it's weird because he's a top 5 passer right now in yards. Statistically, he looks great, even though he didn't. I want to see more of the pros. I don't mind a pick here or there. I get it. I prefer if we didn't throw him, but it's football. I get it. But they weren't good ones. They weren't earned ones by the opponents. They were bad decisions. And I think if he keeps making bad decisions, we might be fighting Miami for a top pick. Just looking around for trades, going, what can we get? Because
No. Well, the Giants going to be the first pick this year. So
Miami might steal that from them.
Yeah. Miami has 1 win, so they're
but Miami.
I don't think the Giants are going to win a game this year. The way they played,
they might. Do they play Carolina this year? Because everyone's beating Carolina.
They do.
People were saying Carolina's going to make a turnaround. Carolina ain't making no turnaround.
They play them in Germany.
I'm telling you what, the Saints don't look like a good team.
No,
they blew the Panthers out.
Yeah.
Panthers don't look good, my guy.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is not it.
No.
They might be drafting first. Miami will be trading for that draft pick because I'm sorry to it. That's the end.
The game. So I was listening to 97.5, and they were talking about Howie's free agency acquisitions, and they were talking about how he went out and got Zach Bond only because Vic Fangio wanted him to get him, and he also got Bryce Huff, and he also got who's the other guy? Devin White. Devin White doesn't look he's going to get to the field because he's lost his job, and Bryce Huff is not getting enough play. And reporters asked Fangio, what does Bryce Huff need to do to get more plays, get more play time, I guess. And he says he has to separate himself from other guys, so he's not standing out on the field. He's not doing anything to stand out. But Vic Fangio turned a 1-year deal for Zach Bond. 15 tackles and 2 sacks, and he's playing out of position. He's not even a middle linebacker.
Yeah.
So, what can
the first game?
What can we expect? This is my question: is what can we expect from the defense on Monday, going against Atlanta, Miguel?
I expect them to play a hell of a lot better than they played on Friday, due to just the field services of what I feel like held a lot of the defense back. Like, I feel like if they would have had a better cleats on or a better grip on this field, they would have gotten more sacks on Jordan Love. They would have had more pressure on him. So, I mean, look, we're at game 1, about to go into game 2. So, I mean, it's a job of the media to make a big deal out of a small thing right now. So, I'm going to wait to pass judgment. I'm at least wait for 3 games to see how this defensive line gets it together this whole team gets it together after that poor showing. But like I said, you were able to put up 34 points against a contender, right?
Mm-hmm.
Quote unquote, and you played a bad game with 3 turnovers. So we'll see.
I mean, I will say, bouncing off that, I guess not directly. I say I want to see a better defense. I want to see the defense we saw in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see that, and that's the thing is, you got to think the stress we put on our defense to start the game with the instant turnovers. I mean, they got us the ball back repeatedly with losing little to nothing. They are there. At the end of the game, when you start playing teams who are good, they're playing teams that are going to have a chance to win their division. We're playing teams who are contending in the playoffs. You got to expect that throughout the game, they're going to score. They're going to. you can't keep giving them the ball at the 20 or 30-yard line. I think our defense did phenomenal to start, and I think if we stop turning the ball over so early, they're going to look good a lot longer.
I mean, we get out of the first quarter with 2 turnovers, and they only put up 6 points.
And how many snaps were the defense on the field for?
Exactly.
Quite
Like
too many.
30?
Too many.
Our offense off like 5?
Right.
That's not good. I mean, that's going to wear you down so fast. I mean, that's one of the biggest things I used to talk about all the time in college. Talking to my buddies, about how like Oregon back when the great Chip Kelly was. Miguel's here.
You're not allowed to say that name anymore.
I had to do it since Miguel's back. No, but like during his time, one of the things that Oregon was known for was their speed. They were averaging scoring touchdowns, and like their possessions were like a minute or less. They were just driving the ball, and then we would play teams like Stanford, who would just run the ball for 2-3 yards, take 30 seconds, run the ball 2-3 yards. They would take 15 plays per possession. They would beat down the defense. Oregon would be a top 5 team and lose to Stanford almost every year because Stanford just beat the crap out of their defense.
Right.
If we do that in the NFL, the same thing's going to work in the NFL. If our offense, you got people like Saquon, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. We're not running college speed. We're not trying to run 1-minute offenses, but the chances are there. You're gonna have plays where the offense gets off the field fast because we scored, hopefully more often than just turnovers. But the more you have those quick turnarounds, the more your defense is going to be exhausted, and they're going to not look as good. But I think they look great to start. I think that Carter looked like a monster. I think that is a problem in the near future for a lot of teams. That man is going to demand 2 to 3 blockers because even when he was getting blocked by 2 guys, he was getting through it a lot. And I think
he also had to clean up those dumb penalties too, though.
Yeah, agreed. He's got to clean up the dumb penalties, but I think more so when you're talking about the field, when you've got someone like Carter who needs that double protection, and then you have a field where Huff and Smith can get that grip and get that speed, we're going to be nicer. I like it.
Sweaty didn't show up either.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see much about Sweat. Again, it's
there goes Barkley.
a little bit of that. Like I said, I saw a lot of Dean. I tried pointing it out a few times to Mike. There was one in particular where they were like at the 5-yard line or something, and as they're getting ready in position, Dean like looks up, makes a read, looks over, and just makes a call. The whole defense makes a change, and we shut them down. Just instantly ruined their drive.
You see,
I think that's what we need.
Did you see Josh Sweat change his number too? I didn't realize that. I'm like, who's that guy? And then he had his number changed. What, 19? I think it is.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, that's weird.
I forget what the reasoning was, but I do remember hearing the story about that. And speaking of stories, Jason Kelce did also on WIP speak of your boy Chip there and why.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He was saying how the reason why the Chip Kelly thing went left was because he didn't evolve. Like teams, they became too predictable. Even though he revolutionized the way that they were moving, and the plays and the quick hits, teams started to learn, and Chip just never evolved in the offense. And then he started getting rid of everybody else, and you see that with a lot of young coaches. Not to defend Chip, just saying in general. You'll see a lot of coaches come out and they look. I mean, look at McDaniels. Mm-hmm. Miami came out on fire their first couple of years.
Yeah,
everyone kind of knows what they're doing now.
Yeah,
it's speed kills. So everyone's kind of backing up as much. You're going to see, watch it all season. Mm-hmm. Achane, Mostert, the quick hits underneath. You're going to see a lot of those routes be allowed because they don't want the deep shot. You can let Miami walk down the field every game, every drive. Once they're in the red zone, the speedsters don't matter as much. Mm-hmm. You don't worry about those big hits.
Yeah, that's like
every game's gonna play them.
That another thing that Jason Kelce said, Deshaun Jackson, for example, great between the 20s, but once you got into the red zone, disappeared.
He's vacant. Yeah, doesn't exist, and that's why you see this like weird combo right now of teams going for, these speedsters like Xavier Worthy, like Tyreek Hill. I can't remember the other guy's name that we had for a little bit.
John Ross, your son.
Yeah, and then going for players that are a little more like Megatron. I mean, you need someone who can go up. I mean, that was the dominance for a while. And I think you're going to see a growth back to it. Right now, we've got all these speed skill players. And I think you're starting to realize, people are starting to realize that in those red zone positions, it's why you see things like Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews and, Kelsey and Kittle being the bigger stars they are, is in the red zone. They're the bigger bodies. And I think you're going to start seeing a few more of those bigger receiver bodies become a thing again very shortly, because a lot of times we're seeing this. You're getting into the red zone and suddenly the receivers just can't do it. They're not as big as they used to be, and they're having trouble going for the contested balls. You can't throw the deep fade to a guy who's 5'9". He's not going to make the same catch.
No, not at all. All right, so let's break down by position here. Just Atlanta and Philly. I would say Eagles have the Eagles are in quarterback. They're quarterback between the Eagles and Falcons. Who's better? Eagles.
Yeah,
leaning towards the Eagles, right? Running backs.
If Michael Penix in, I don't know. Might be a little nervous.
I expect he's going to sit the whole year unless there's a major injury.
I have a feeling he'll be starting Game 6.
You think he's going to start Game 6?
I think so.
They were talking about, like, if Kirk Cousins really isn't ready to, he's not as healed up as they thought he was going to be, they might put him in a lot sooner because they can win that division. It's a weak division. It's a weak division.
Is.
While I personally have said my piece before about Penix, and I do truly believe that we're going to know that name league wide for a few years, honestly, once he's in, I think they're going to play it safe.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep him out because I think they want to develop.
Yeah,
I just saw the Tua hit. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Tua hit.
Yeah,
Tua hit's not great.
Watch those hands.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that happened when he was locked up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like, "Oh shit, something's wrong."
And I told Mike before the podcast, as someone who suffered at least 7 known concussions, 7 diagnosed concussions in his life from sports, I am now living a part of my life where I am hesitant in certain activities in my life because I realize after a few talks to my doctors, like the next hit might be the last. It could very well be a change in my life that's not for the better. It could really mess me up. I've had a few of my hits were from card contact like that. I've had ones in sports. I've had ones where I've hit a brick from 10 feet in the air. Things are, so I've made some hard contact. I've had some pretty bad concussions. I've never locked up. I blacked out on my very first concussion. I blacked out, but I've never locked up like that. To see that happen once, to see it happen twice to the same guy, bro, you got to truly consider your livelihood over your career at that point. People were talking about it with the last time he had a concussion. This isn't good.
Yeah, he's going to be out. He's going to be out for, like you said, he's going to be out for a while.
But touching base on what I was saying, I think we see Penix sit this whole year unless they need to. And I think it's honestly, it's one of the problems. I'm going to agree with Tom Brady. I think it's better. I think, particularly because of it, is why Penix is going to end up being the best rookie best quarterback out of this draft. Right now, it looks like Jaden Daniels. I think it's going to continue to be Jaden Daniels this season. For one, because Caleb Williams is overhyped, and he's not as good as everyone thinks. He clearly makes some bad decisions, and he's not great pocket presence. Bo Nix has nobody to throw to. That man threw so many balls on target that were dropped or just not caught to the point where his own coach ripped apart his teammates, which I thought was hilarious. That's not something you normally do. When a rookie quarterback sucks, you normally don't say, oh, well, everyone else around him sucked. You usually say, oh, he sucked. But everyone was kind of obvious that Bo Nix put the ball wherever he could, and nobody could catch it. And that's not a good thing.
Kind of important.
Yeah, it's changed my mind entirely that Jaden Daniels is 100% going to be rookie of the year as of now. But yeah, I think Penix is going to be a year or two from now, and I think we're going to be lightning in a bottle with him.
Okay, so let's move on to running backs. We split with running backs, or
Yeah,
Do
50-50.
50-50?
Bijan, yeah.
I personally, I'm a weirdo. I get it. I'm giving it to Bijan. He's younger. He's healthier. And I don't mean
Saquon's got the better offensive line.
Saquon does have the better line, but if you were to match up player for player, I think Bijan's got the quicker moves, the healthier body. I agree that yes, Saquon might end up having a better game because they have a better team.
I'll tell you right now. As I make the graphic for this that we're doing, and I put that on Instagram with a falcon next to the running backs, a non-eagle. There's a lot of hate's gonna come my way.
You can say 50-50. I'm cool with that. I'm just saying that I personally lean Falcons on this one,
especially after the week that
and I
both
get it.
had last week.
I get that. I get
that. Player of the week. He was offensive player of the week.
Right.
And again, I get it. I do. I'm just saying that Bijan is playing with like a Giants level O-line, doing things that young Saquon did.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, if you were to compare Saquon today, if Saquon came out of college today and we put Saquon behind this O-line, he would have made that stat look like an everyday stat. He would have crushed it. He'd be blowing people up.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
just saying.
If you go by 40 times, right? Who do you think had the faster 40 time?
Saquon had the faster 40 time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Saquon's a monster. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying, but Saquon
had 4.46.
Yeah, but Saquon's what, like 30, 28, something like that?
Yeah.
28, I think.
28, yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, running backs being running backs, I'm going to lead towards the younger guy who is a stud. I'm not saying about every running back. I'm just saying it happens to be Bijan, where look at fantasy football. Top people drafted, CMC and Bijan, 1 and 2 across almost every draft in the country.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm cool with you guys going 50-50.
All right.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how I make the graphic, and if I make it the way you want, I'm tagging you.
It's all good.
Wide receivers, I would lean towards Eagles all day long on that one.
Lean, bro. I'm so far in the Eagles side. I don't even know the Falcons exist. Who is it? What, Drake London?
I know is London. Yeah, that's all I know.
Drake London. That's it.
And Kyle Pitts.
Drake London
moves on tight ends, and I would say tight ends.
Drake London catches about as many footballs as English footballers. All right, they don't use their hands. Like, no, that man has been a disappointment since he entered the career, or since he entered the league.
I like Kyle Pitts more than I like Goddard, but that's just me.
Well, I don't argue that.
Yeah,
but the problem is that it's weird because like Goddard gets used less, but Pitts just doesn't show up all the time. Kyle Pitts also runs funny for me, but I do think Kyle Pitts is the better tight end. He's also a local boy. You know what? Maybe he could come home to roost. Wouldn't mind sharing some split plays with him and Goddard.
Along with Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I mean, hey, they can't afford that man. There's no way they're affording that man. That man just watch his future vanish.
Yep.
That contract, insane.
Is Dak really that worth that much money?
No. But if you look at the stats, his stats compared to Mahomes, so you got to know.
Can you imagine? Can you really put Mahomes and Dak Prescott in the same sentence?
No, one guy.
How did you do that? One
guy has never sniffed the Super Bowl, and the other guy is about to win his third Super Bowl probably this year.
Yeah.
No, he's won 3. It'll be third in a row, but he ain't winning this year.
No, that's what I'm saying. Back to back to back.
Oh yeah, no, he ain't winning. There's no way he's winning 3 in a row. I don't care. It's not happening.
You don't think so?
No, it's got to stop because the league realizes that. I mean, he might make it to the Super Bowl, but the fans don't want to see him win. The fans want to see him fall.
Well, they're officially the most hated team now. They're officially the most hated team.
And
does it surprise you? We got them Taylor Swift fans.
Hold on. Let me just pitch you guys an idea.
Okay.
Let's go back 4-5 years. How long? Mahomes been 6-7 years in the
20? He got drafted in 2017.
Okay, so yeah, that man's got 7 years in the league now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make those 7 years Him and Andy Reid at Dallas. With the players Dallas has had. How many Super Bowls does Dallas have?
Just Patrick Mahomes and just Andy Reid?
Yeah, you put Pat Mahomes there with Andy Reid.
They probably win some Super Bowls.
I would say probably more than they have in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the best O-line, one of the best. You had a top 5 defense for most of Dak's career.
Yeah.
You've had a top O-line for most of his career. You've had some of the top running backs. You have arguably a top 3 receiver. You've had him.
Yeah.
And you can't do jack with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah. And I'm glad that actually never happened. That would be.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a hell on earth.
I actually would have preferred that Mahomes went there without Andy Reid because he wouldn't be the same Mahomes.
Right.
That man has been curated by Reid. That man has developed under Reid.
No,
his career is not the same. As a fan of college football, anyone who really watched him in college knows he does not come out and become who he is now without the proper training.
No, I agree. He sat a year too. He sat and watched Alex Smith.
That's how it goes.
So I forget who said it. I want to say it was Dan Orlovsky that said that Carson Wentz is going to benefit a lot by being over there in Kansas City right now. Going to come out a better quarterback.
He's going to bench himself a lot, maybe. Benefit the bench.
Well, hey, listen.
He's going to learn something. He's going to learn something.
If Sam Darnold can go to Minnesota and do what he did the first week, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, but he just left the Jets.
And he also was playing. They were also playing the Giants too.
Oh, no, but you got to think about it. Sam Darnold's career, the Jets, the Panthers, 2 of the worst teams in the past decade.
Yeah,
his career wasn't going anywhere. I've talked to people a few times. How many players have come out of college and had their death sentence signed because they signed with a team that was absolute dog shit?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple people.
That was Caleb Williams' thing. He didn't want to get drafted by a team that was going to be just terrible.
He's terrible,
but he's actually terrible.
I was gonna say,
I got
hype on him watching him fucking Hard Knocks, and then I picked up Ron Dunzier thinking that he was gonna do something too.
I know.
I think Rome would do something if he had any quarterback who know how to be a quarterback and not a drama queen.
Well, look at fucking Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
bro, don't even.
Marvin Harrison Jr. was like invisible.
Bro,
right.
4th pick overall.
You get 1 point. You get 1 point.
1 point.
4 yards. Yeah, 1 point.
That's right. 1.4.
1.4 because 1 catch, 4 yards.
Yeah.
Thanks, bud. Thank you.
Amazing.
If you're playing in half PPR, it doesn't even get a point.
Right.
Nutty.
That is crazy. Moving on to offensive line. Eagles offensive line all day long.
Yep. Next.
Defensive line.
I'll be honest, it's Eagles the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Well, what about linebackers? The Falcons have some good linebackers.
We have Nakobe Dean, and we have the leading tackler.
I think you're biased about that.
We have the leading tackler.
I will lean towards linebackers next week after I see what happens this week.
I'm going to throw you against the brick wall. All right. Let me be hyped for our linebackers for 1 second time in my life. It took so long to get there. We lost it for a year. Now I'm back.
If Jeremiah Trout Jr. was starting, I'd be linebackers all day long for you.
I'm done with you and Jeremiah Trout Jr. I'm done. The man will have his time.
Corners, Eagles all day.
All day.
By a long shot, even with injury.
Safeties, Eagles by a long shot.
Yeah, we got CJ back.
CJ, Blankenship. I'm a big Blankenship fan now. Huge.
He did play pretty tough. Well, I'll give him that. I think he's always good early. I think that's his biggest problem. I said before is I don't think he's got the durability to last the season, though.
Yeah, he can't get hurt this year. I put a push for kickers.
I'll accept that because, I know you like I like my wife, but that young Hoku.
Yes. And I'll go with coaching. Eagles coaching, of course, because more experience where the Falcons have, a rookie head coach.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Mark, what are you?
I ain't saying anything. I'm just looking back going, I don't know how people you were talking about Sirianni last year. I don't know what you're gonna say about Sirianni last year. Man.
Sirianni, like he said, he's big on accountability this year, and you can see he didn't scream at any referees on the sides this last game, and he's kind of like making it or putting the players in accountability. So, Jalen Hurts has got to be accountable for that gameplay he did on Friday. He's gonna have to have a huge game this week.
Ooh, you forgot one more key part.
What's that?
So we compared all the players. Let's compare the time of day, prime time.
This is true. Prime time Kirk Cousins will show up, I'm sure.
I'll bet before he leaves his house, he's going to touch every primetime ball he has in his house, like he did for that quarterback show. Be like, look, I am primetime Kirk. Man.
So that being said, I would hear some scores from you guys. I already put it out there like really early to see what people were saying. A lot of people are saying Eagles win, and the Eagles win on a big blowout. I don't know if it's going to be a blowout. I feel like Jalen Hurts is going to have to make a statement game, and a 31-17 victory for the Eagles. 31-17 Eagles. Yes.
Miguel, what you got?
Miguel, we haven't heard from you about scores. You were able to give me a score last week, but let's hear your breakdown of this game's.
I didn't give you a score. I thought I gave you a score.
You did, but it wasn't like a verbal score. It was just a text message.
Gotcha.
It's not the same, Miguel.
It's definitely not the same. I'm trying to look through my notifications here. I saw something. Forget who sent it, but they were kind of saying that the Falcons could pull off an upset.
I've seen that a few times, mainly from Atlanta-based news stories.
No, but this was like ESPN or NFL Network itself. But I think I must have got rid of it because it's full of shit.
I want to say that while you're thinking about that, can we just put out there that Justin Fields came out and got a dub over Russell Wilson when he only found out he was playing like an hour before the game or something like that?
Yeah, but I watched that game.
I mean, he might not have done it. The defense kind of did it. But.
Yeah, he played decent, but he makes some dumb. He makes some dumb. You thought Jalen's passes were bad. Like I watched that game, I was like, "What are you doing,
At least
dude?"
he didn't throw a pick.
How about Russell Wilson is it that he was on the sidelines knowing he wasn't going to play at all
in his uniform,
full pads?
Yeah,
Russell Wilson.
He's Russell Wilson doing Russell Wilson things.
God.
I want to feel part of the team. You know what I mean?
I guess so. The guy is something off on him. Something's off.
Yeah, well, it's Russell Wilson. What was it? Broncos. Let's ride.
Broncos country.
Yeah.
Let's ride.
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Steelers country. Let's weld ourselves together.
Anyway,
Steelers country. Let's weld.
Let's. I'm gonna go with kind of what Mike's thinking there. I'm gonna go 35. 35-17 Eagles.
Here we go.
All right.
Here we go.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't agree with it.
Okay.
Eagles obviously win.
Mm-hmm.
35 points.
I mean, we put up 34.
34 against a really good Packers defense.
You are correct. I'll give you that. I'm going 27-13. I think there's going to be a little kicking involved on both teams for them scores.
All right.
Yeah, because they do have two of the best kickers in football, so it should be. The thing is, though, I don't like when the games are put in the hands of the kickers.
Apparently, Pittsburgh does.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Their kicker was killing it.
Yeah,
fantasy-wise, he scored better than most quarterbacks do.
I know. I had a fantasy kicker just put up 21 points against me. Yeah, and I only squeaked out a .52 win.
I saw that.
That was close. That was too close.
It's almost like you're not as good as champion.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You also
played
played against a guy who had Christian McCaffrey in his lineup and then didn't have him in his lineup.
Hey, you know what? It's not my fault.
I was hearing that Christian McCaffrey is going to miss more games, not just this one.
I also heard that.
So I don't know. That's crazy.
I haven't heard that, but okay.
Yeah.
I know we got lads Tanky Chubb, who's gonna win this year again. Amon was it a star? Amon Justin's won it last year.
Right.
And now lads Tanky Chubb because Lad McConkey is about to be Justin Herbert's new favorite toy.
Yeah.
Tank Dell's got to do something better, and Nick Chubb will come back. So that's my team, and they're gonna win.
All right. Good luck with that.
How about Xavier Worthy? How's Xavier Worthy do for you on your bench?
On my bench. But guess what? He's starting this week.
Oh, yeah, is he? Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like if he had started, it wouldn't have been a 0.1 point win.
It wouldn't have been. But I had Garrett Wilson and A.J. Brown and Scary Terry, all guys that are known to put up points.
And which one of your receivers put up the most points? Just question out there.
AJ.
No, all receivers, including bench.
All the bench.
What's the latest? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Let me just
I feel like it might have been a bench player.
Xavier Worthy put up a 20-some points.
Interesting. And what's Scary Terry do for you?
Xavier Worthy put 20.8. Scary Terry did 3.
That's
3
a winner.
points.
That's a winner.
And Garrett Wilson, I was sweating it out the whole game. I thought he got his final catch to put me over in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes left. I'm like, I waited this whole game to get all my points from him. And then so he got 12 points from Garrett Wilson and 22 from A.J. Brown.
I expected more out of Garrett Wilson. I really thought it was going to be a really good year for him. I'm shocked that he didn't score a couple tutties.
But most points.
Aaron Rodgers is a little rusty too.
Right, the most point receivers on my bench was Jamison Williams from the Lions.
Yeah, that hurt too.
He put 24 points up.
All right, so now you land your starters. Who are you going to start this week, though? Because you can't just sit A.J. Brown.
No, A.J. Brown. Yeah. It's going to be A.J. Brown, Xavier Worthy, and Garrett Wilson.
I like it. Because Garrett was against one of the best defenses.
What's that?
Watch Scary Terry put up 40 because they're playing the Giants.
Yeah, that's why I picked him up in most of my leagues. Yeah. I'm putting him starting.
Garrett Wilson's playing against Tennessee, so I'm not sure who's worse, Tennessee or the Giants.
Giants.
Giants. Yeah.
The only team the Giants are better than is Carolina.
Yeah. And that's debatable.
Yeah. I'm like.
Real quick before we get out of here. My thought on Devin White. So Devin White in Tampa Bay had been they said that he had become a locker room headache, right?
Yeah, he did lack motivation, didn't really have a drive. Yeah, not a lot of good
so how often do we hear a team leave behind a player because of his injury? It's not very awesome, especially season opener, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I know they paid him $3 million per year, signed him a 2-year deal, $6 million, I think his contract is.
Mm-hmm. You think they left him behind on purpose?
I think he's become a locker room headache already.
Already? You think?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know why. I don't know what could have been. But I just feel like the way Nick Fangio, we brought it up earlier in his press conferences, talking about how Huff can get more playing time, and they asked him right after that about White, and he didn't seem too thrilled to have him as an option coming onto the field. So I don't know. Go back and listen to it. Read into it what you will. But I just have a feeling like if we get to see Devin White play in an Eagles uniform this year, it'll be a surprise to me. But I just feel like unless we are depleted at linebacker, as we have been prone to in the past, probably won't see him.
Will say, I got a few things I've been reading here, little Eagles news. White did say when asked about it, he said, look, I'm locked in with this team. I came here to do a job. Everything is in front of me. I know what I got to do. And if I stay true to myself and this team, it's going to come. Quote from him, things going to do good. However, on the flip side, the other favorite quote from the interviews I saw was one from one Nakobe Dean when they asked him about that pick six that didn't happen. And he said, I scored before I caught it. It was one of them things in the mind. I'll get it right. I'm hitting the jugs machine after practice this week.
The thing that Nick Sirianni pointed out when in his interview this afternoon, he said that they have to work better on tackling. They weren't tackling as well as they should have.
Unless your name was Bond.
Right. Unless your name was Zach Bond. He was tackling everything out there.
He was the water boy.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. You know what?
Honorary
water boy award to Zach Bond.
It surprised me. He was. I did not expect him to be that good out there. Let's see. Maybe hopefully he can translate to the Northern Hemisphere and play that well too.
Let's find out. We'll find out this week.
Yeah. I think that'll do it, boys. Again, Miguel, welcome back. Glad you're back.
Glad to be back.
Mark, as always, thank you. You know how we do, right, Miguel?
You know how we do.
Remember?
EHELES. Eagles.
Let's go.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Hey, Mike, play that in honor of Devontae and AJ Brown. Put some Bad Boys music on.
You gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? You chuck it on that one, you chuck it on this one, you chuck it on your mother and you chuck it on your father, you chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister, you chuck it on that one and you chuck it on me. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Nobody now give you no break. Police now give you no break. That old soldier man I give you no break. Not even your hygiene now give you no breaks. Hey, bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you?